You take something like 20,000 breaths every single day, and you probably don't give a single one a second thought. But have you ever really stopped to wonder what's actually going on inside your body with each breath? Well, today we're going to uncover the fascinating, totally unseen mechanics behind that simple act. So let's start with a really quick question. How do you breathe in? Now, if you're thinking something like, well, my lungs pull the air in, you're in for a bit of a surprise. That's a super common idea, but it's actually a misconception. The real mechanism is way more interesting. You see, the whole secret lies in how you think about your chest. It's not just a container for your lungs. It's a really sophisticated suction pump. And if you can grasp that one idea, everything else just clicks into place. Okay, so here's the absolute key. Your lungs themselves, they're actually pretty passive in this whole process, kind of like a balloon. They don't have any muscles of their own to actively pull air in. Instead, it's your chest, your rib cage, and that big diaphragm muscle that does all the heavy lifting. It physically expands and contracts, and that changes the volume inside, which then changes the pressure. And this whole thing works because of a fundamental law of physics. Super simple. Air always moves from an area of high pressure to an area of low pressure. Always. So when your chest expands and creates a low-pressure zone inside, air from the outside just rushes in. And when it shrinks and creates a high-pressure zone, air gets pushed out. That's really it. That's the engine. All right, so now that we've got that core principle down, let's get into the nitty-gritty. We're going to break down the complete anatomy of a single breath cycle and look at exactly what your muscles and bones are up to step by step. First up, breathing in. We call it inspiration. And this is an active process. It actually takes energy. What happens is the muscles between your ribs, the intercostals, they contract, and that lifts your whole rib cage up and out. At the exact same time, your diaphragm, that big dome-shaped muscle under your lungs, contracts and flattens downward. All of this action makes the space inside your chest bigger, which, as we just learned, drops the pressure inside, and boom, air rushes into your lungs to fill that space. Now for the other half of the cycle. Breathing out, or expiration. And what's wild is that normally this is a completely passive process. It needs zero energy. The muscles just relax. Your ribs move back down and in, and the diaphragm relaxes back up into its dome shape. This makes your chest volume smaller, which increases the pressure inside, and that gently forces the air right back out. It's all just relaxation and the natural springiness of your tissues. This chart just lays it all out so perfectly. You can really see the beautiful symmetry of the whole process. I mean, look at it. They're direct opposites. Inspiration is active, volume goes up, pressure goes down. Expiration is passive, volume goes down, pressure goes up. It's just a perfect little push-pull system. So we've covered the mechanics, right? The pump. But what about the mastermind? Who or what is controlling this whole thing without you even having to think about it? Well, for that, we have to look at the command center. Your brain. The director of this entire operation is a tiny part of your brainstem called the medulla oblongata. You can really think of it as your body's own internal metronome. It's just sitting there generating the basic rhythm of your breathing, ticking away quietly every second of your life. So inside the medulla, you've basically got two key departments. The first is the inspiratory center, and that's the main pacemaker. It's the one sending out the regular signals telling your muscles to contract and inhale. Then you have the expiratory center. Now, this one is usually just chilling out, totally quiet. But when you need to breathe out forcefully, like, say, you're exercising hard or blowing out birthday candles, it jumps into action. But the medulla isn't working all by itself. Just above it, there's another part of the brainstem called the pons. And the pons acts like the fine-tuning department. It takes that basic rhythm from the medulla and then smooths it out, making little adjustments to match whatever your body needs at that moment. And the pons has its own two specialists. First, there's the pneumotaxic center. That's a mouthful, I know, but just think of it as the brake. It's what tells you when to stop inhaling, which controls how fast you breathe and makes sure your lungs don't overinflate. Its partner is the apneustic center, which does kind of the opposite. It can stimulate those longer, deeper breaths for when your body is crying out for more oxygen. Okay, so we've looked at the mechanical pump, and we've met the brain's control panel. Now let's put all the pieces of the puzzle together and see this whole elegant system at work. So, when you boil it all down, breathing is this perfect three-part harmony. First, it's mechanical, driven by the real physical movement of your rib cage and diaphragm. Second, it's controlled, perfectly orchestrated by those centers in your medulla and pons. And finally, it's all driven by that simple law of physics, air moving from high to low pressure. Every single part is absolutely crucial. Now, I know that was a lot of new, kind of complex terms for the brain centers, so if you want a great way to remember them all, I've got a fantastic little memory trick for you. It's simple, it's super effective, and it's called mid-PAP. Let's break it down really quick. The first part, mid, is for the medulla. The I is for the inspiratory center, which is located in the D or dorsal group of neurons. That's kind of the back part. Then you have PAP for the pons, and that houses the A for the apnoistic center and the P for the pneumotaxic center. Mid-PAP. It's a really easy way to lock in some pretty complex anatomy. And that really brings us to a final, pretty cool thought. Breathing is one of the only automatic processes in your body that you can actually take conscious control of. I mean, you can hold your breath, you can breathe faster, slower. It makes you wonder, doesn't it? What else is your incredible brain managing in the background just perfectly without you ever having to think about it at all?